Spoiler warning. The following discussion will contain spoilers. We recommend checking out the movie first, then coming back to hang with us. But if you don't care about that, glad to have you here.
Yes, doing vital work in maintenance, really vital.
I work in letters, Dad.
Letters, of course. I'm so sorry.
You moved me after I tripped over that plug and melted down the elf barracks.
I lost everything in that flood.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Real Review. My name's Kevin.
And I'm John.
And we are The Real Movie Guys. It's December, so you know what that means. Real Christmas. Real Christmas is a special event where we review all your favorite holiday movies. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Arthur Christmas. Santa's clumsy son Arthur sets out on a mission with Grandsanta to give out a present to the misplaced young girl in less than 2 hours. Now, John, I've heard a lot of hype about this movie. I don't know about you. Sometimes I feel like there's an animated movie every once in a while that slips under the radar where we don't necessarily watch it or I don't engage in it right away. This movie, I would say, is one of them. I've heard a lot of people talk about how good Arthur Christmas is, and now that I finally watched it, yeah, I think it's pretty good.
I think I came across this movie one time just watching it, like watching TV or something. I kind of heard about it through like that way. Otherwise, I was like, I enjoyed it throughout.
There was a lot of internet chatter about this movie. It's one of those movies where I feel like maybe it was a little overhyped for me, which I think was the case. People were like, oh, it's a great Christmas classic you've never seen. Last year, I felt like we did have that when we watched Klaus. Klaus is like an automatic go-to for me every year now. Arthur Christmas, I don't know. Maybe not. It's a good movie. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it every year. What I really liked about this movie, which I got to appreciate, is the humor. This movie wasn't afraid to go full adult with some of its humor. Like, it wasn't to the point where it was crude or over the top, but it worked to where like I could understand it and a child won't, so I don't have to have like an awkward explanation. Like the lead paint joke was one of my favorite running gags throughout the movie. It's like, oh, back in the day when we used to paint toys, you use your lead paint. That's hilarious. That's a great joke.
Yeah, really. It has little things in there thrown in like that, which also makes it good for like the family. Everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a great family movie. I think that's one of the main things, and I think that's what I liked about most. This wasn't your typical Santa story that I feel like we've come to know and love throughout the years. It was really about just a family. There's no antagonist in the movie, which I also think is interesting. There's no villain. I was waiting for one of the brothers to be the villain, or maybe one of the elves be this super bad guy that they have to overcome. It wasn't the case in this movie, and I thought that was a really great change of pace for storytelling, where essentially it was just about this dysfunctional Santa family. Their view on Christmas is all very different, but at the end it comes together. I think that's a great messaging to send to kids. It doesn't devalue Santa Claus if he's real or not. They say Santa Claus is real, but they also say at the same time, it doesn't matter if Santa's real or not. As long as the child gets the present at the end of the day, there's still that little bit of magic for the holiday. And I think that's really great messaging to tell kids. Other things that work too. I like the modernization that we saw in this movie. At first, I wasn't too sure about it when we had like military-esque Santa Claus with spies jumping and delivering gifts, but I thought it was good. It was a different retelling. It's not something we see all the time. Instead of just relying on magic, I like how they rely on technology as well. They kind of use like a blend of the two. Again, it was a fun little aspect, which led a lot of like darker things too with the elves, like they're going to war and they're all delivering all the gifts. One gets like his leg caught in like a mousetrap and they're carrying him out, and they come back home and it's like they came back from war embracing, like they haven't seen each other in years. Fun concepts like that they play with, and I think that really just ties into this being maybe a more modern story for kids to enjoy.
Well, yeah, I was thinking too, like them doing that shows Santa Claus is kind of evolving too. He's not stuck in the 1950s where he's still riding in just like this regular sleigh. This thing's got all the newest enhancements and everything, and that's how he can get around quicker now too.
And it ties into that whole generational story that they're telling, where you have Grandsanta who said, back in my day when we had a sleigh, I would just go around the world, and he had a giant map and Chicago didn't even exist or something like that on his map. I like stuff like that. It's a family relatable commentary, because you do have families that are like that. Well, back in my day, I did it this way. And then you have like the son or daughter, oh, we do it this way now. You have to get with the times. I think that's an easily relatable concept to draw people in. It's enough for where adults find it interesting, so they're not bored. Like Grandsanta's humor throughout the movie is also just hysterical with some of the stuff he says. Pretty outlandish, not gonna lie to you. And then how they tie in the other characters, I think it works too. With Arthur, maybe more for the children, where he has this unyielding belief of Christmas and how much he loves Christmas and wants to embrace the holiday. I think kids are really gonna find themselves attracted to that. I found myself a little bit attracted to that as far as a character trait. At first, I wasn't really sure about Arthur. I remember turning to my wife and saying, I don't know if I really like this guy. He's kind of annoying, too over the top, and maybe it just didn't work for me. But as time grew on and I saw maybe more of the heart opening up in this movie, I definitely found myself enjoying it. The voice cast of this movie, I think, is another thing that can't be understated. I was really surprised with how many people they got for this movie. James McAvoy, Jim Broadbent, Bill Nighy, Hugh Laurie, all these people that are huge British actors, huge even in America to some extent. They do a great job. I would say maybe James McAvoy wasn't the strongest out of the voice actors, unfortunately, as Arthur, as the main character. His lines maybe felt a little bit more of the most hollow. I felt like maybe some of his stuff just didn't click right with me. Overall, I think they did a fantastic job with the voice cast. Now, John, what did you think of the animation in this movie?
I thought the animation was done pretty well.
This movie came out in 2011, so 10 years now at this point. I do feel like the animation holds up. For me personally, I don't know if I like the art style. I'm still on the fence. Everything around the world, in the world, everything looked good as far as that. Some of the character models, though, I just don't know if I could get into it. When I tried to look into it a little bit further, maybe to see what the reasoning was, the animators actually said they wanted the character models to not look like your typical standard US character models that we have, like with the airbrushed colors. They wanted them to be a little off, not super pleasantly beautiful, but maybe like that British, awkward, good-looking kind of style. And I think they succeed in that, but for some reason, I just felt like some of it just felt almost uncanny valley, but not. I don't know what it was. Just the designs didn't sit right with me.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the only other thing I really have to say that's negative and that kind of hurts the movie, in my opinion, is it's really long. It's an hour and 37 minutes, which by most standards isn't a long movie. But when you get to the middle of this, when we get on Arthur's adventure with trying to deliver the present, it really felt long for me at one point. I'm like, all right, where are we going? We're just spinning our wheels now. There were just a lot of down points towards the middle of this movie until you get to the climax with the Claus family reuniting. It didn't move for me. It felt really slow. Overall, I think this is a great film. What it's really trying to teach you is that message. And the message is really what matters in a holiday film like this. Christmas, the people, everything changes, but the spirit of the holiday doesn't change. And I think that's a great message that we're passing on to kids, which brings me to our final scores. I'm going to give Arthur Christmas an A-.
Dasher. Wow. Dancer. Prancer. What are the others called? I could never really remember. Bambi? John, you there with the white ear.
Is it the best Christmas movie that you've never seen? I don't know. That really depends on you, I think. I enjoyed this movie a lot more for what it was. I had a really good time. If you're looking to show kids something new that they haven't seen, this is a good one. I wouldn't let it go under the radar. I think I would give it a chance. It's a fun family film. Adults are going to have a good time with some of the more adult humor, but the kids won't be out of the loop either. They're going to have a good time with Arthur and his adventure. John, where do you stand with this film?
Yeah, I give Arthur Christmas a B+.
It's critical. Lead for Christmas.
Oops, a daisy.
Peter, let go of my hand, please.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
And get me IT.
It was a good, fun movie. It had some down points, but I liked the story of it. I thought it told a decent story. And the ending was just one of those typical happy endings of a Christmas movie, but kind of had fun throughout the movie.
Yeah, you don't always have to subvert my expectations. I didn't need a sad ending or anything like that. Overall, Arthur Christmas, great film. I think you guys should check it out. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Real Review. Real Christmas continues on as we review all your favorite holiday classics this season. We'll catch you next time.
See you.
If you guys like what you've seen here today, consider giving this video a like and leaving your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date with everything Real Movie Guys related, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And don't forget, all you audio listeners at home, we are available on many podcasting platforms. Just search The Real Movie Guys, you should pop right up. Thank you again all so much for joining us on this episode of The Real Review. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Catch you next time.